Let's talk about variance. What is the best way to deal with it as a sports bettor? What can you anticipate happening when you start betting on sports? And let's really dig deep into the psychology behind winning and losing and why you need to stick with it to see any form of success in this industry. Let's get into it. So, what is variance? What is this term that keeps getting thrown around? Positive variance, negative variance. Well, simply, it is the up and down swings of betting, right? I mean, you can assume that you're going to have bad days and good days when you're gambling and when you're betting on sports, but obviously we're talking about plus EV bets and profitable bets. So you might think that, well, you're going to limit your downside, you're going to limit your down days, and I wish that that was the case, but as with a lot of things in life, it's not always the best scenario possible, and with sports betting there are still big swings up and down. And so variance is basically a term to help understand why that happens, why there are big up days and big down days. Obviously, over time, if you were to zoom out, really take a bird's eye view, you can see that you have a lot of profit coming in, and in general, you are going up and you're on an upswing. However, the bad days can really get to your head. So let's take a look specifically at what I'm talking about, okay? And so let's look at my first month here in April, right? This is my first full month. I did have March, which was a ridiculously good month, and I guess I can use this as an example of positive variance, right? I came in March and I bet 10 days in March, and I had 9 out of the 10 days be green. Massive profits, especially on these last 2 days here. Now, that is positive variance. That means that I am winning way more than expected. I'm outperforming what I actually should be, because in general with plus EV betting, you're going to be getting a small edge, but it's an edge that works over time, right? If we look at my profit margin down here, it's 6.21% right now. It could lower, it could increase, but that's around where I'm at right now. And so for this first 10 days, I was making way more than 6%. And so this is a sustainable number, or at least close to a sustainable number, whereas this type of profit is completely positive variance, because I have an edge of about 6%. So let's say I'm flipping a coin and I have a 6% edge. So instead of 50-50, now I'm landing on heads 56% of the time. Obviously, I'm going to continue taking heads, and heads could land 9 out of the first 10 times. But if we zoom out and look at it 1,000 times flipping that coin, you're not going to be landing on heads 90% of the time. It's going to come back to the mean, come back to the average, where you're going to see that actual edge of 56%, right? So, having said that, let's look at this first month here. As you can see, there are tons of ups and downs, right? There's a bad stretch here followed by a great stretch. There's a couple bad days here followed by some good days. It's completely up and down. And what variance, the term variance, like I had just explained, it allows us to basically coin a term for the feeling of, oh man, I've just lost over $1,000 in 3 days. Am I doing this correctly? Is something wrong? What's going on here? So what I like to think about is this coin analogy, or what I've said before is my cat using his litter box. The guy needs to use it, once a day or so, but some days he's in there 3 times a day, and then other days I haven't seen him in there for a couple days, right? But there's ups and downs with it. But if you were to look at it from afar and and look at the mean and the average, he uses his litter box once a day. Again, back to the coin flipping. We assume that we have an edge of a specific percent, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% of a profit margin right here. And so we might, let's say that this is our coin flipping, right? First day we flip it, we land on heads, great, we win. Second, third, fourth day we land on tails. Now we're 1 in 3. We're down a lot of money, and we're thinking, how is this, like, or am I doing this properly? What's going on? Is this wrong? Like, should I continue doing this? If we understand variance and think, look, we still have our edge, we're placing our bets correctly, we can look at our stats and show us that we are placing these bets correctly. You need to trust the process. You need to zoom out and increase your volume before you can even decide if you're doing it correctly or not, right? I've got, as you can see right here, 1,300 total bets, right? If I looked at my bets after about 100 and thought, well, I'm losing, right? Look at this, I'm losing. You need to zoom out, increase your volume, and once you have flipped that coin 1,300 times, and we have our 6% edge on heads, you should be profitable, and obviously, as you can see, I am. So variance is, it can be very tough on your psyche. Like I mean, I understand variance very well. I can see it from afar here. I can see the ups and downs, right? I can see that I had a lot of up weeks, but then I've had down, right? And so in general, variance can allow the term can allow us to basically place these feelings that we have, and this us being upset and potentially hard on ourselves, feeling like we're failing, and we can put it onto, you know what, this is part of the process, this is expected, everyone goes through this, let's zoom out, let's continue sticking with the process, placing good bets, and eventually, once we increase our volume to something like 1,300 bets a day, or 1,300 total bets, we're getting 50 bets a day, we're really increasing our volume and placing good bets. Finally, you can see variance turn around, right? And it's not just going to be negative. You're going to have some great days like this, right? And so that's kind of what I wanted to get across in this video, is that everybody deals with negative variance. You might see these influencers on Twitter or YouTube talking about all their wins and never talking about their losses. Everyone loses, and sometimes they're big losses, and there's a lot in a row. But that's all part of it. If you flip a coin, right? Again, back to the coin. If you flip it 100 times and you have an edge on heads, you have a 6% edge on heads, or even a 10% edge on heads, you could easily flip tails 10 times in a row. Yeah, it's unlikely, but you could definitely do that. And as I'm showing you here, we have a great edge, but we can lose 3 days in a row for sure. So that's the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed something, and maybe this has helped you, take a step back and think about your losses, and not immediately go to how, you're failing and you should consider quitting, because you need to stick with it. As long as you're continuing to place profitable plus EV bets, and you're managing your bankroll effectively, you're gonna be fine, and you just need to continue getting those bets in, increasing your volume, and at the end of the day, this is the number that matters. If you can keep this, at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%, if you increase this amount, then this will stay the same, then your profit will increase, right? So hopefully you enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.